Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Resident and Family Council. My name's Steve. I am normally behind the scenes helping Lee, but Lee is on vacation this week. I think she's skydiving or something. I'm not sure, but we wish her all the best. And today I'm here in Greenville, nursing and rehab, with a few of their fine residents, and we're going to be talking about the artifacts of culture change. So first, we'll just go around the room, and if everyone could just say your name and how long you've been at this home.
I'm Patricia Swafford, and I've been in here for about 4 weeks or 5.
I'm Mark. I've been here for a couple of years.
I'm Cheryl. I've been here a long time. Been here since '05 or '07. I think '05.
I'm Doris, and I've been here about a year.
I'm Ruby, and I've been here about 4 weeks probably.
Thank you. So what we've been doing on our second meeting of the month is just uh, going in and asking some questions of nursing home residents to see what their thoughts are. And today we are going through the artifacts of culture change, specifically the environment section of the artifacts. And for those of you who are out there who don't know what the artifacts tool is, and just so everyone knows, I can't see whatever you're seeing, so I have no idea if I'm in frame or not. It should make it interesting. But so the artifacts of culture change, it is a tool that that you can use at your long-term care home to see how person-centered you are. And it gives tons of ideas of different things that you can do to improve your person-centeredness, your person-directedness. Some of the ideas are things that can be implemented for free. Some of the ideas are huge $1 million things, but baby steps. Baby steps are important. So our first question is what does home mean to you? And do you feel like this is a home for you? And I'll just give the microphone to you, and you can answer it or pass it on. Okay.
I really don't have no complaints, but I do miss my home because I live in my daughter's basement. But she's got it all set up for me, so but I do miss that, and I hope to get to go home.
Thank you. Like I say, I've been here a couple of years, and it feels more like home. I have a private room, which is really important to me. I didn't in the beginning. I had a roommate, and it worked out. But I'm more of a private person, and in the other about a month ago, they were going to move me again and put me in with a roommate, and I really didn't want that. Like I say, I'm kind of a private person, and I like my space, and just didn't think it would work out. And I went to Shelley, and her hands were kind of tied. She said that the Medicaid that I'm on is not doesn't cover a private room. So, but she really has. Well, they all have, but worked with me to keep me in a private room, and I can't say enough. She's just bent over backwards, and she may not be able to keep it up, and I'll have to live with it, but I really appreciate what she's done, and I didn't mean to hog the microphone, but no, it feels, I miss my, miss my home too, but I get really good care here. Have an excellent staff.
My name is Cheryl Sybil. I've been here a long time. But it's been really good and fair. It's been really fair. The people that work here are really fair, and those that aren't get reprimanded. You could just tell that and see that. Everybody's been really good though, and I've enjoyed living here.
My name is Doris, and I have a complaint about this place. At night, they only have maybe one girl on the floor, and she has to work 2 halls. So it's kind of bad, when you gotta have help and there's nobody around. And also, if I was the administrator, I would tell these girls when they hire in, you cannot have your phone on the floor and you have it in your car, because a lot of them stand around in the closet or whatever on the phone, and it shouldn't be.
I'm supposed to say my name. I'm Ruby. This is a pretty nice place to be, but there's a couple of people get kind of bossy, and I don't like that. Also, like, I had some clean clothes laying on a chair, and I said, "Those are clean clothes." She said, "No, they're dirty. I'm going to throw in the dirty clothes." So she did, but I don't like people that believe what I say. So anyway, I've been back. It's a pretty good place.
Well, good. Overall, it sounds like this place feels like a home for most of you. And I can tell you the phone issue is not unique. I would see that quite a bit in other homes where they are, the staff are sitting on their phone and not attending to needs of the residents. That is a growing concern, I think.
She has.
Um, so, I think I mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking about the environment. And so that's going to involve the building and your room in particular. And that sounds like a good place to start. So how do you feel about your room? Are you able to decorate your space? What would make it feel like yours?
They told me I could do it. They told me I could do anything I wanted to. It's my home at the time, temporarily home. So I decorate whatever I want, and I just celebrated my 80th or 82 birthday, the 6th of September.
Congratulations.
So I had my room all decorated up.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but I can do anything they want. I can to my room.
Good.
Yeah, I have to agree. I've got a bulletin board full of family photos and lots of pictures up on the wall. My son just took me out to the old home place, and I brought in a lot of family pictures, and we found an old picture that of myself and my great uncle, who I'd never met. I stopped in to see him in San Diego, and he took me to the San Diego Zoo, and there's a picture of he and I at the zoo there, and it just means so much to me, and it does. My room feels like home. It really does.
Well, I have my house is all right. I just have pictures on the wall. And my roommate, I like my roommate. She's nice when she's awake to talk. She likes to sleep a lot. But she doesn't come home some nights till after I'm asleep. So that's but it's a pretty good place to live.
Yeah, I can decorate my room, but the rooms are so small that, for two people in being in one room, it's kind of bad. Now the lady that I'm in with, she's an older lady, and a lot of times she don't want to sleep at night, and she tries to get up out of bed, and I have to holler for help because if she falls, it's gonna be their problem. And like I said, this is my home for till I die because I don't have a home to go to anymore.
Well, this is a pretty nice place to be, but I keep wanting to go home. But I have to have therapy, and I've had quite a bit of it, and they tell me I'm doing good. And I like my house. My husband built it, and last thing I told him, I said, well, my husband built that house, pounded every nail. He put it in there for me and not for me to be here. But I mean, this is a nice place, but I still, nothing like being home.
Yeah. Set 'em up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Those were all wonderful responses. It is hard moving from the home that you built for yourself to long-term care. Or yeah, any place really. I've moved a fair amount in my life, and every move is hard because you leave some things behind, and then you gain new things, and you don't you don't realize what you've lost and what you've gained right away. So yeah.
Either stirs it up or makes it brighter.
Um, so one of the other questions on here is, do you have enough lighting in your room? And if you need more lighting, will they help you get more lighting? And then along the same lines, a lot of times staff will go room to room at night and check on you. When they come in to check on you, are they turning on the lights and disturbing you? So I'll pass the microphone around. And
They turn my light on when they're giving me my medicine. But there is a couple different times I asked them to turn my TV off and my light off because I wasn't ready to go to bed then. So I just laid there. And so, but then it's on all day and all night. They didn't come in and check it.
your TV's on?
My TV was on all night and of course, it was a blank TV after a while. It was just a pinkish thing. But my lights stayed on all night for 2 nights there. They didn't turn them off for me. So, but overall, I lived through it.
The lighting is, I have no issues with that. It's adequate in my room. They will come in periodically at night, but they're not, when they come to my room, they're not intrusive at all. They lightly tap on the door and will kind of almost peek in, but they don't turn the light on, and it's just a very quick kind of to see if I'm in bed or, okay. So, yeah, I have no problem with the lighting or them checking on me at night. So
My house is good. They just come in the evening just to check and see if I want anything, if I have medicine coming. Usually I take the last around 7 at night or something, so they give me that and ask me if I want anything, anything to drink or eat or anything like that. And I answer them and they either bring it or don't. That's it. It's good service though, I believe. Good for me anyway.
I have never noticed that they turn lights on only in my roommate's part of the room because I've never noticed anybody check on me. And if I'm in the wheelchair yet, I go and check on my roommate because, like I said, she tries to get out of bed a lot of times. And there ain't nobody around. No, I had to holler for help. So
Well, my lighting's fine. When I go to bed and lay in the bed, after a while, my legs get tired of laying there. So I'll buzz them and they'll let me go sit up in my very comfortable chair. And then I'll play puzzles for a while and then I'll fall asleep. And they leave the light on and that's okay with me.
With lighting, um, one of the things that I didn't think about until a few months ago, they make smart bulbs now, and most of the time we control them with like an app on our phone, but they can also be controlled by other switches. So now it's possible for you to have a light switch in your room right next to your bed to control your lights. So, that might be something to look into. I don't think they have big tube lights, and I don't know what type of lighting you have in your room, um, but okay. But, if you've got a lamp or something in your room, or, small light bulbs, those are pretty easy to but that is something that could be a way for you to have more control over your environment. Um, to be able to have a remote control right next to your bed that controls your lights or controls your fan. And I said smart bulbs. It doesn't even have to be a smart device. It could just be um, they've got remote controls that go to outlets. Um, turn on lights, turn on fans, turn on and off the TV. Yeah, anything. Um, because the whole point of person-centeredness, person-directedness is to make sure that you have as much control over your life as you can. Um, so you mentioned roommates a little bit ago. Um, but let's go around the room. Do you have a roommate? And how do you feel about having a roommate? I don't need to hear how you feel about your roommate, but but I do you do anything to create more privacy in your room? And how important is privacy to you?
Well, I like my privacy and I'm by myself. So I can at least go to my bathroom when I need to go. I was stuck in there for a week before I got to come out. But now I can go back and forth and I can walk again, so. But I don't have no roommate.
Like I said, I did when I first arrived here, but I don't now, and I'm very, very thankful I'm a private person, and I'm like her. I really cherish my privacy, and right now I'm lucky to. I'm happy to say that I have no roommate.
I have a roommate, but I only see her. I see her when I go home at night. She's in bed, usually sleeping. Once in a while, she's watching TV. She has her TV on, where it's low enough so I could turn mine on too. And it doesn't matter, but she's home sleeping or watching TV when I get home at night, and she's usually gone when I get up in the morning. She's an early riser, and I go get her, I guess.
I have a roommate, and she's very nice and quiet, and I don't think that we could have any more privacy. I have asked about a private room, but they say it costs too much, more than what my double room does. So
Okay, I don't have a roommate, and it's just kind of nice. But anytime I want anybody to come help me, I just press a button and they're right there.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it can be tough having a roommate. I know a lot of times I hear complaints about the roommate's lights or the roommate making noise, or TV was a big one when I was doing the ombudsman work, in the nursing homes. Um, a lot of times it was a person was unable to hear the TV, so they'd turn it way up, and then the roommate would start complaining. Um,
Round and round about the temperature of the room. He wanted it warm, and it was the middle of summer, and I was cold all the time, and but as I get older, I don't know if your blood gets thinner or what, but I kind of get it now. A lot of these mornings, I will turn the heat on for a while. Here it is, summer and 80, 90 degrees out, but I'll turn them. So I really feel like I should go down and apologize to him. But yeah, that was a real issue, the temperature of the room. But I can certainly see how the TV and you're on different schedules, and like I say, I'm really thankful that I'm have a private room.
um, so do you feel that they're kind of changing topics a little bit off of roommates? Do you feel that there are things the home could do to make it feel less like an institution? So some examples are no med carts, making the call light system more person centered, where it's not a flashing light over your doorway, um, or maybe getting rid of some of the equipment in the hallways. Um, or like I hear beeping right now. I heard beeping, the last round. Yeah. So
Lunchroom.
here, I'll hand you the microphone, and then you can pass it around and give us your thoughts.
Down in that lunchroom, that one starts from morning till night. I don't know why, but it does. Everybody's complains, they just shut that off, shut it off. So, but yep, that's bad.
Yeah, the beeping gets a little monotonous once in a while, and that lift, I know a lot of times is just kind of stuck in the hallway, and it's not a real issue, but and I don't really know where else they put it, but that kind of makes it feel like like you know, like a more like a nursing home, but like I say, you know, it's a big kind of, you know, machine, and they have to put it somewhere, I know, so.
I don't know, I think I've had a pretty good life here. I've been here a lot of years and I like it, and it works for me, and I'd come back once I leave here if I need to.
I don't have any problem with the putting their equipment out in the hallways. I can usually get around it pretty good, so that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it goes beep, 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 but I'm so used to it, I don't even notice.
So, thinking about the beeps and the call lights, I had a home that switched over from the standard call light where it was, you know, the light out in the hallway to one that was computerized. And so it would go to a sign on the wall, and then it would go to a computer at the nurse's station and tell you that, you know, somebody needs help. It was very unobtrusive. The downside was that um I was getting complaints about 2-hour wait times for the call lights. Well, it wasn't even people not paying attention to it. It wasn't the staff not paying attention to it. Um, the residents were pushed, and so I went through with the director of nursing, and she said, "There's no 2-hour call lights here, but there's a lot of 3-second call lights because people would just push it down and pop it back up." Um, but um, but we did some education and things improved. You know, educating the people on how to use that system. But my point is that other systems are out there that that aren't aren't so facility like, institutional like. They're not perfect, but with some work and education, we can work our way around them.
Hey, Stephen, this is Karen, and
Yeah,
there was
Karen.
in the chat a question on a slightly related issue about lighting. And the question is whether or not it's acceptable for a facility to wait to change a burnt out overhead light in a room until the following day. The response for the delay that was provided was that the maintenance was only available on a day shift. I don't know if you have any information to share to that question or not.
So the question was, is it okay if your light bulb burns out later on in the evening? Is it okay for them to wait until the next day to change the light bulb? Um, the reason that was cited in this question was that maintenance was gone for the day, and they'd have to be back the next, you know, come back the next day and fix it. So um, I don't know what the law says on that. Um, I can definitely see some, you know, potential for a fall hazard, but I think more importantly, let's ask our panel here. Just a show of hands, I guess. Who would be okay with waiting until the next day to have a light bulb replaced in the evening after, you know, after 5 o'clock?
Yeah, but that's the, I can get around other than that. Just because It's easy to get around in. You had your room with your bed and dresser. Now usually maybe a chair.
Okay. Yeah, and Karen, I don't know if you could hear that we're using a little different microphone setup.
I could not hear it, but I could tell
Okay.
that somebody was responding.
So the consensus was that as long as they could see, see to go to the bathroom and get around safely, then they would be okay with that.
My idea was to ask the facility for some other form of lighting. If it, like a portable light, a flashlight, just to make sure a person feels comfortable moving at the middle of the night. And I say that even though I'm younger than maybe some of the people on our panel, I have 2 black cats and I literally can no longer see them at night. So like my rooms where I know I'm going to potentially walk at night, including a path to a doorway in case of a fire, has those little powered photosensitive plug-in lights. So the path, and they operate on a battery so that if the power goes out, I can always see to an exit and to the restroom. So I don't know whether your rooms are set up with anything like that. And when I travel, not that I do a lot of traveling, I always bring a little flashlight because I've actually had to evacuate a hotel room in the middle of the night in my personal life.
My, could you all hear Karen? She was talking. Okay. She just gave a couple of ideas of how a home could
Can I ask a question on that?
provide lighting.
It's the
Yes.
person who asked about the lighting. I was the individual involved with a roommate, and the staff actually blamed me that I didn't ask for the request earlier, and I explained I was not there during the daytime hours. So I guess it went out earlier in the day. And the person had limited functionality. I don't know the proper terminology. So then when I asked for a flashlight, I was told it was my fault because I didn't ask for the request to be made previously. And I explained, well, I wasn't there during that day. I had other obligations on the outside and appointments. Was that appropriately handled?
That they blamed you for the not asking sooner.
Well, and I explained to the staff, I wasn't there. Somebody should have been checking on my roommate, like if I'm not there, I can't report something that happened during the daytime hours.
Yeah, I mean,
But then that's when I asked for a flashlight. And I was told, no, that's your own fault. You should have asked for the light bulb to be replaced on the day shift by the same person.
Hi, can I
Yeah,
address this? This is Kim Stone King.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, I was with Public Health for many years, as a regional, as a surveyor. Absolutely, under no circumstances was that your fault. There's a thing called preventative maintenance, and maintenance personnel should be checking things like this from time to time. Depending on what type of lighting sources you have in your room, if a light bulb goes out and that's your only source of light, it needs to be replaced. It's a safety hazard, as you said earlier, it's a fall hazard. And it does compromise your ability to get around in your own environment. And that's not what it's about. It's your home. You wouldn't sit in your home for 2 or 3 days or waiting for somebody to come and put a light bulb in. You would hope that somebody would do that. So yeah, things like that should be addressed. You should never, ever be blamed because you didn't report the light was out. A lot of people come and go out of those rooms and they would also know those lights are not working. So it's not really a responsibility that falls on your shoulders. So anyway.
Thank you, Kim.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. And I agree. You should not have been blamed for that. I can see the staff's argument that they can't replace it that night without maintenance because there are some different kinds of lights and different kinds of setups that if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know what to do with it. but it would have been good to see a little more effort on the staff's part of the staff, but thank you for the questions and the comments. Let's see, I lost my place on the thing. So we've already talked a little bit about the beeping. Do they do overhead paging here of staff? Like paging. So like calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. They do that. So what are your thoughts when they're paging staff? Is that something that feels home-like to you?
Oh, somebody's sicker than I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Yeah.
I think it's necessary.
Yeah, it's very necessary.
Yeah.
Everybody needs help and they need to sit back to perform this or that.
Okay.
you know. It's-
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that most nursing homes have, almost all of them have, is a nurse's station. And but at the same time, it provides a function, but at the same time it feels very institutional. What are your thoughts on the nurse's station? Is that something that you feel like could be gotten rid of?
Is that what you call that little thing out here in the hallway?
Yeah, where the nurse sits typically, and yeah.
Not in my way.
Not in your way.
Doesn't bother me. No.
Okay.
Just needs to sit somewhere and do her thing.
Yeah.
I feel good that they're right there at the desk, and like they're accessible, if I need something, they're usually right there.
Yeah, it's very true. Don't do a searching.
Do you oh, is it raining? Oh, wow, yeah, it is
It's very.
quite the storm out here. Do the two of you have any thoughts on the nurse's station?
I think the nurse station is fine where it's at. Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the nurse's station?
I was sleeping. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
There. And that's not someone there all the time, and which, I know that they just can't be.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But I feel better when I see them there,
Well, and so one of the things in the artifacts of culture change is to do away with or minimize the nurse's station. I went to one home that they actually, instead of having a nurse's station, they had a little writing desk, and that's where the nurse would do her paperwork, and then she had a few cabinets. They were locked cabinets, but they were nice looking cabinets. They weren't the steel cabinets that you'll see. And that's where the meds were stored. It's a very nice home-like environment. I had another home that they had a very small nurse's station, but it was deep. So it didn't take up a lot of space in the hallway. Kind of minimizing it as much as possible to make the nursing home feel more like a home. So,
Hi, this is Kim again. Could I say something about this?
yeah, sorry, who is this again? Kim? Yeah, go ahead.
Kim. Yeah. There is no state requirement that says you must have a nurse's station. There is an environmental code that says you must provide space for nurses. That doesn't mean it has to be a nurses station that juts out into the middle of a room. You know, nurses stations have become somewhat archaic. I think when you look at new designs and new buildings, they have become very minimal, which is perfectly fine. There really isn't anything that requires that they have a nurses station, period. So yeah, it would be nice to see nursing homes trend away from that, you know, and make more room for the facilities in the hallways. A lot of times when I did public health work, you saw a lot of residents gathered around the nurses station, so they keep an eye on them, which I don't particularly think is a good idea. But no, nursing homes need to move away from that, I think. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. So what he said basically is that they're. You had some thoughts?
Yeah,
Another gripe?
yeah, another gripe. I am really shocked what comes out of some of these people's mouth. That F word. You'd be surprised how much you could sit there and listen to the nurses. Some of the nurses, aides, are in CNAs. They cuss up worse than a soldier does. They do. I don't know if anybody else has ever heard them. Oh, yeah. Oh, I do. I hear them. Because my daughters will be here with me and they'll say, "Oh my God, Mom, I can't believe it. Oh my God, Mom. Oh my God, Mom, shut the door, Mom." That's what they tell me. Say, "Shut your door, Mom, so you'll have to listen to it." They do. I hear it all the time. I don't know if one's trying to outdo the other one or what, but it sounds like it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but that's the way I hear it.
20 minutes and you say the same word twice?
No, they say, yeah, right, that's the same word.
You know, some of those words are very versatile. Yeah.
That's really the biggest complaint I think I saw. I miss that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you telling us that because, you know, sometimes the staff,
Sometimes,
well, you know, yeah,
but you can hear them talking.
To one another, you mean?
Yeah, to one another, not to me. They don't cuss
Residents,
me
yeah.
or anything, but they're just talking about this.
yeah, and you shouldn't have to hear that. I'm glad they're not saying it to you. You know, sometimes.
Yeah. that-
Can I address this again? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to monopolize everything
Oh.
here, but this is an important issue. It really is. This is
Sorry,
Tim
hang
again.
on just a second.
Sure.
Sorry, we had somebody was
Thanks.
trying to say something on the computer here. So go ahead. Kim, are you there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to somebody else. Actually, even if you're in earshot of somebody using profanity, that's considered abuse. And there are actually federal regulations that are very explicit about people using that kind of language in front of residents, even if it's not directed at them. It's still considered abuse because it incites fear in people. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. So when that happens, you know, they need to be vocal about that. They need to tell somebody what they're hearing because there's no place in that at all in the work environment. Thanks.
That is good to know. So what he said is that actually hearing someone swearing is abuse because that can incite fear in you, and that's something that you should be reporting to your home.
Hey,
Does everyone here
Stephen,
know? Yes.
that type of language could also cause a problem from other legal perspectives. Here, like in our office environment, you have to be respectful of working conditions, and
Mhm.
there's issues about privacy, respect. and making sure that you're not creating a hostile work environment from a harassment standpoint. And then Jan had her hand up. If you would like to allow her an opportunity to speak again when you're ready.
Yeah, Jan, if you want to go ahead. I apologize. I mentioned earlier, I can't actually see my screen unless I walk behind, because we're using the back of the computer
Oh,
camera
no
to
worries.
film everyone. So
I had a question, and just from an education standpoint. So if staff, and I just want to make sure I heard it correctly, if staff is using offensive language, profanity, talking about certain functions with, that are just vulgar in nature, even if it's not directed at you, but it's two staff members having that conversation loudly, that can be reported to whom? Because reporting it to the administrator, it's pretty much, oh, well, they said that didn't happen, And my second question is a caveat to that, follow-up. What about residents who are threatening in nature and use very offensive terms and make threats and things like that? What is a resident's right when, this is one resident doing this to a multitude of individuals, and it's been expressed to the administration and the social services about that? So it's kind of two questions. Like, what do you do if the administrator doesn't do anything? And then, what is your next step? And then the second question is, what about residents that are, making a hostile environment to live in a threatening environment? Because it is verbal abuse. So, and sometimes it's not physical, but it involves potential physical threats, to harm you. So if you could give me feedback on both of those, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for your question. So, and I was just gonna touch on that really quick. So, how many of you are familiar with your resident council? Just a quick show of hands. Okay, so every nursing home is required to have what's called a resident council, and
I'm actually the vice president of our resident council. That's why I'm asking this question, because when I brought it up to the administrator, I've been told there's nothing she can do.
There's nothing she could do about her staff swearing.
Yeah, that's not really correct. I mean, she shouldn't be saying, that anytime you report something like that as an abuse, they are required to do an investigation. That investigation has to be sent to public health, and as well as the outcome. If they're telling you there's nothing she can do about it, that's why you have basically two other options: talk to your ombudsman and get them to help, or utilize the hotline and call in a complaint. Because, you shouldn't be subjected to that, whether it's a staff member or, in the example you gave, the resident who's threatening. That's absolutely abusive. So yeah, that's a bad situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you.
And I would be protected against retaliation. Like, how do they protect you against retaliation?
Well, let me get to that. So the resident council, if you go to the administrator and you don't get anywhere, one of the things you can do, which is go to the resident council and make sure that your complaint gets logged into the minutes. Because
the staff said they have to type the minutes, that we're not allowed to type the minutes.
That's not accurate.
I know that's not accurate. That's why I keep my own set of minutes.
Do you know who your ombudsman is?
I sort of do, but I'm leery with the retaliation that occurs. We're in a big area.
Okay. If you would like to,
we're in the Chicagoland area. So
okay. If you would like to send me a private message
Okay.
in the chat.
Mhm.
You can do that in the drop down box.
Okay, I'll do
and,
that then. Thank you.
get some of your contact information and what home you're in, because the resident council is the residents council. It's not the staff council.
Okay,
The staff liaison is there with resident consent. And
I
so,
tried to explain that, but I'll send you a chat. Thank you so much.
yeah, let's,
Hey, Stephen, this is Karen. I have a couple other ideas.
yeah, Karen.
One thing is, like, aside from the fear of retaliation, if you're comfortable doing so, work your way up the chain of command. You
Mhm.
can always post something on your door saying, please, watch the noise and use respectful language, or use civil, or we promote civil discourse here, something that you feel comfortable with. You can file a complaint with the regulatory agency, which is the Illinois Department of Public Health.
Mhm.
The other thing is, this is an opportunity when you get ready to do in October, which is Residents' Rights Month, ask your local ombudsman or your activities director to bring in training on this issue. So there are a number of simple and more complex steps to take, but we're dealing with culture change, and unfortunately, change sometimes is erratic. Sometimes it is an easy lift, and sometimes it is baby steps toward a larger goal. But I urge you to continue to take action and be supportive of your neighbors, because being alone can be frightening.
Yeah, thank you. Another option that you have in dealing with people swearing or any sort of complaint you might have is the grievance procedures. All nursing homes are supposed to have a grievance box. You can fill out a grievance anonymously and put it in the grievance box. They're supposed to respond to it, I think, within a week or two. And then the big thing is they have to keep that grievance on file for 3 years. Public health, when they come in, they're going to look at the minutes for the resident council. They're going to look at the grievances. If you file a complaint with public health on language, you can say, I spoke to the administrator on this date. I talked about it in resident council on this date. I filed a grievance on this date, and nothing has been done. And that is going to help you get better results in working with public health to get your issues resolved.
But it concerns me if she is scared of retaliation, if that's the route
Okay.
she has to go. I'm
Thank
concerned
you.
for her, and she shouldn't have to live in that fear if nothing is being done. So she should be able to rely on a different process than having to go that route. When the administrator isn't backing her and they're not letting her put things in the minutes, she should have another avenue that she can go. And that's why she should be able to private message you to get the information she needs. And somebody on here should be able to help her so that she's not singled out.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to see people get singled out. And I apologize. I only heard a small portion of what you had said because the gentleman here had to leave and go meet his son. Karen, do we have any other questions in the comments?
I do not see any, but several people offered suggestions as to what was going on in their individual facilities. So I don't know if any of the people who have provided comments about different amenities and solutions to common problems with the environment would like to unmute themselves and share? I think everybody would enjoy hearing your remarks.
Well, I don't hear anybody chiming in, so I guess I'll ask everyone in the room once around just to give, if you've got any final thoughts on the environment of your home here, or the staffing and how they are. Your comment about the staff swearing, it caused quite the conversation today. So no, don't be sorry. That's it's part of it, and that can create a negative environment for you in home, and you should, it should be home-like, and but at the same time it should also be professional here too. So
And I could care less, but I didn't say those words to nobody, but no, I mean, my daughters hears it too, and they say, Mom, 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 Mom. I said, I know, I hear it all the time. So, but, yeah.
well, and I mean, you, before I walked over, you said, the staff probably get aggravated with you at times, and that might be true. I mean, we all have bad days,
Yeah.
but they don't have to say it. And if they're getting so aggravated that they're starting to yeah, yeah, there's if they can't work here without getting so frustrated that they're swearing up a storm, there's probably a factory that they can work at. And
They should do it, and so is the CNA. It's both, I think, trying to outdo the other one,
yeah,
just each other. Every other word they talk about something, then they.
There you go. It's like they shouldn't do it as much as the people who live here shouldn't do it,
yeah.
Because they always tell us about not using derogatory language and stuff. Then you sit back and listen to them. You say, oh, why don't they say that?
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of stupid. They're doing the same thing. Using it to each other, but not to us. They're laying on that calling us all them lovely names. They're just talking among themselves. All the lovely names that they don't need to use because they're referring to us, and a lot of people can hear it from the outside, and
Yeah.
turns into a bunch of crap. Just because of that, hearsay. Exactly, hearsay bingo. Millions of miles. It's no good for anybody.
Yeah, you're right. It's not good for anybody, and you shouldn't have to live like that. Yeah, you shouldn't have to listen to it. So we are at 4:00. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording if I can figure out how. Oh, there's the button. I'm going to stop the recording,